All right, let's talk about one of the biggest, most misunderstood topics out there, confidence. We're going to skip all the usual advice and actually build a new framework for the real thing, something that genuinely lasts. So let's dive right in. You know the feeling, right? You're at a party, standing by yourself, you feel a little awkward, so you pull out your phone and just stare at it, pretending to be completely absorbed in the 5-day forecast for a city you're never going to. It seems like a harmless little act, but what happens when our days are full of these tiny performances? Think about it like this. You're pretending to be thrilled at a meeting. You're pretending you know what that acronym means. You're pretending to be busy on your phone. Every one of those little acts, it costs you something. It drains your mental energy. Let's call it your battery of fakeness. And for a lot of us, that thing is always hovering near zero. And this whole idea leads us straight to the biggest problem with probably the most common advice you've ever heard. Fake it till you make it. We're about to break down exactly why that strategy doesn't just fall flat, it actually works against you. So here's the kicker. That battery of fakeness we're talking about, it pulls power from the very same source you need for the real stuff. Developing actual skills, facing your fears, and building genuine self-belief. When we spend all our energy putting up a front, we're left too exhausted to ever build the actual foundation. Okay, so if faking it is just a trap, then what's the alternative? Well, we need a totally new way to look at this. It starts with throwing out the idea of confidence as some mountain peak you have to conquer, and instead thinking of it like a dynamic scale. Now this is such a liberating idea. Confidence isn't some perfect 10 out of 10 score you have to hit. It's a spectrum, right? On one end, you've got crippling self-doubt, and on the other, you've got reckless overconfidence. The goal is not to just slam that slider all the way to the right. And this is absolutely key. Different spots on that scale are incredibly valuable. Being calculated and cautious, that's perfect if you're a surgeon. A high-risk, fast-moving style, probably great for a startup founder. Neither one is better than the other. It's all about what works for you and what you're trying to do. So what this all boils down to is that the real goal is to align with yourself, not to imitate someone else. It's about finding that sweet spot on the scale where you just click, where you operate at your best. That right there is authentic confidence. Okay, so we've got this new model. Great, but what about that feeling of being totally stuck at the low end of the scale? To get that, we have to look at where insecurity even comes from. And here's the secret. You aren't born with it. You learn it. I absolutely love this analogy. It just makes so much sense. Picture your self-image as your own personal operating system. When you started, it was a clean install. But over the years, through bad experiences, maybe some harsh feedback, you accidentally download malware. These little corrupted files of self-doubt. And here's exactly how that malware gets installed and just keeps running in the background. It's a vicious cycle. It all starts with one negative thought, like, I'm not funny. That thought stops you from even trying to tell a joke. And because you don't try, you don't get any laughs, which your brain then uses as proof that the original thought was true. The program just keeps reinforcing itself. Do any of these sound a little familiar? I can't code. I can't do a single pull-up. I could never be attractive. These are some of the most corrupted files out there. They feel like these deep, fundamental truths about us, but they're not. They're just old programs running on a loop. So, if our insecurities are just bad code, you know what the good news is? We can debug the system. And there are two really clear, actionable ways to do it, to basically go in, rewrite the code, and install a brand new program. So here they are, the two paths. Method A is all about working from the inside out. You change your thoughts first. Method B is the opposite. It works from the outside in. You create new, undeniable proof through action. You get to choose whichever one feels right for you. Okay, let's break down Method A. First up, visualization. And I mean really doing it, imagining a successful outcome with so much detail that your brain almost can't tell the difference between that and a real memory. Then, second, you have to actively go in and delete your old bad evidence. Like if you think you're unattractive because of one thing, go find examples of amazing, successful people who have that exact same feature. You're showing your brain that its logic is broken. And really, that's what you're doing. You're becoming your own IT department. You're going into your mental operating system, finding that corrupted file, and just hitting delete. It's a conscious act of cleaning up your own code. Now for Method B. This one is all about pure action. Your brain might be able to argue with a visualization, but it cannot argue with cold, hard reality. The process is simple. You make a list of things that are physically possible in the world, but just feel impossible for you. Then you pick one, you put it in your calendar, and you do it. This gives your brain a shocking, undeniable piece of new evidence that its old limits were just plain wrong. So we've gone through the theory, we've broken down the methods. Now there's only one thing left to do, and that's to turn all this knowing into doing. It's time to find your own impossible challenge. I want you to really think about this for a second. What's one thing that you know other people do, but when you think about doing it yourself, your stomach does a little flip? Something that just feels completely outside the lines of who you think you are. And look, this doesn't have to be some huge, life-altering thing. The power is just in proving your own perceived limits wrong. It could be something as simple as waking up at 4:30 a.m. just once, or walking up and talking to 5 complete strangers. Or maybe it's finally doing that one single pull-up that you've told yourself for years is impossible. So that's it. That's the final takeaway and your challenge. Don't just sit around and think about being more confident. Go out and create a brand new piece of evidence for it. This week, pick one impossible thing and go do it. Because real, authentic confidence isn't faked, it's built, one impossible action at a time.